Hello, fellow overthinkers, metalheads, and neurodiverse people of all ages and genders. Turn it up and let's talk. This is Breakdowns and Breakthroughs. I am Chris.
And I'm Mari. We have a nice guest with us today, and he's Sam. He's friends with Chris. Do you want to tell the story, Chris?
Well, yeah, we met during a vocal class. So I took singing lessons. We both moved on to an advanced course with the vocal coach, and yeah, we've been chatting ever since. Yeah, today's episode isn't really just about the music and the vocal side, is it though? It's mostly about growing up, feeling different without knowing why. You've lost your dad pretty early on in life as well, didn't you? Spending years believing that you were just battling depression before discovering that you have ADHD, and it's been shaping your life all along, hasn't it? So, Mari, you've got a bunch of questions for our esteemed guest.
I'm going to strip Sam out of all the answers I can get it.
Let's go for it.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about with you, Sam, is about before your diagnosis. So I want you to let us know how I was discovering it. So if we go back to little Sam and being a kid before all this ADHD hype that's coming around, how was it?
I mean, it was a struggle, but I've always kind of had this like thing of me. I've always been told that I'm super lazy, like my whole life. And like, to be fair, I am pretty lazy, but I didn't have the excuse at the time. So I used to get shouted at by like teachers, my parents. But yeah, like school was all right. I didn't do amazing. Could do well if I applied myself, and that was it the whole way through. Any of the stuff that I enjoyed though, like art was the only thing I did well in. Ended up going to uni and doing art. There's always like, if I enjoy something, I'd do it. And if I didn't, I just had no time for it, just wasn't bothered. And just rather be dotting around my mates and trying to make people laugh in class.
That's the thing with ADHD, isn't it? If you're not interested and you are bored, it's not like something you really want to carry on with. And you jump from one activity to another activity to another activity, just constantly chasing that dopamine hit, trying to find something that would just, excite you really, and obviously you found that with music, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, so like, I'm in a band now called Sleuth Gang. Check us out on Instagram, Spotify, all that stuff. And yeah, being in a band, being a musician and stuff, it's perfect for me because it's never doing the same job every single day. I've worked loads of jobs like every ADHD person has, and every single day, like, it starts off being mint, putting in 150%, and then it slowly starts to chip away until I'm daydreaming about going home and playing League of Legends or whatever. I used to work in a call center, and I used to just like sit there and I'd have like League of Legends like on one screen, just like watching videos of it and the news on the other. And like sometimes I wouldn't even realize that I wasn't logged in to be called. So like I'd get absolutely bollocked all the time for it. But you know.
Oh, so you're the guy that I've dealt with that just says, "Can you just be put on hold? Can I just put you on hold, please?" And then you just hear League of Legends in the background.
Oh,
you're
yeah,
that person.
genuinely, I used to put people on hold because I was bored. And I'd put people on hold for about 2 or 3 minutes and pretend I'm doing something, but I'd actually just be like watching the news or something. I don't know. So yeah, I mean,
that's hilarious.
I got fired for all them jobs, obviously.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, music is great. It's good for like ADHD people because every single day is different. I think one thing what having ADHD is good at is I've been quite lucky that because it has given me loads of different interests throughout my life. It means that I've got loads of skills, so it's like I can do 100 different things to like an all right level, which means that we don't need to hire a lot of people. We don't need to spend money. I can just do things like animation, design, whatever it needs to be done. And then now I've got an opportunity just to do it. It's good. You pick up so much stuff through your little neurodivergent mind. It's meant. But I think ADHD would just like, why not? Just learn. Like, just do it. If you're interested in it, you just end up learning it because it's our one thing we're good at is just picking up new stuff.
Exactly.
I was just wondering, when was the point that you realized when life was more for other people and not you because you didn't really fit in? When was that point that you kind of recognized that it's just like, yeah, I don't work that way?
I mean, I've always assumed that, well, I don't really know. I've always been like different, but not in like a... I mean, going back to school, we had a uniform to wear. Everyone has the uniform to wear, but I didn't like wearing the uniform, so I'd wear whatever I kind of wanted. But and then instead of just wearing like trainers like other kids did, like I mean, it's a super obnoxious thing, but like I used to wear these like black skinny jeans and these super high white winkle picker boots because I was really into 70s rock and roll stuff, and people take the mick out of me, but I kind of liked being different.
Did you get thrown out of school? Or did you get suspended, expelled?
It's weird because I got away with like way too much, and I was talking to my mum about this the other day. Like it's almost like the teachers just didn't really care, but not in like a, you know, like some kids like get completely left in the dust. It really was like I didn't used to go in until like 1 o'clock because I didn't want to wake up in the morning, and
Yeah.
I'd just go to school and just go in for lunchtime, and it was just like, oh, you're in now, and that'd be it. I spent like no time there, but I still managed to get a C, and I literally just you just kind of work it out, right?
Yeah. Just shows how
Um,
easy school was.
I mean, I think ADHD people are proper resourceful. Like, I couldn't tell you any of the stuff, but I think I knew to learn the right thing for the test and then get through it, you know?
And you don't
Yeah.
remember anything now.
Nah, I don't even know how to spell my own name.
Another thing I want to ask you, Sam, is you mentioned that you masked quite a bit throughout your life and you didn't even realize you were masking. What kind of masking that you did? Maybe someone can recognize the signs.
Well, I mean, so when I was growing up, I love drama, not like real world drama, like actual like performing drama and stuff like that. And my mum sent me to like a local like stage school sort of thing. And I loved it. And I did a lot of that, and it always transferred throughout my life after that. So I started doing that probably about 10 or 11 years old.
Hmm.
I'd like just kind of act my way through the world. So like if I was in a social situation, I'm nervous, like act as if I'm a person who isn't nervous in a social situation. And I just kind of did that for everything what I did. Like say this is a hypothetical, this has never happened, but it's like the only metaphor I can think of. But say that I was in a situation where I was a fisherman, right? Then I wouldn't turn up in like scruffy clothes or something. I would full on turn up dressed as like a stereotypical fisherman, and like I'd probably grow the beard for the role. I'd be wearing like the yellow because that's like me getting in character. So then the real Sam isn't bored and not interested and not fitting into this situation. It's like, no, this is an actual fisherman, and this is just how I've just approached my whole life through everything.
Mm.
And again, being in the band, I wear leather, a lot of leather, and I kind of act like a rock star when I'm doing that because that's the only way I know how to do it. Yeah, I mean, when we were doing the singing lessons, I was just like, get yourself in character and be a character because you don't have to be nervous if it's not you anymore.
What did you call yourself? You had a name. Was it like the Undertaker
Yeah.
or something?
No, the Hangman Sam Hunter. It's like I'm a big wrestling fan as well, and then I stole the name from that, and I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna be this, and I didn't know it was masculine. I didn't know it was an ADHD trait until you do start to. Until I was diagnosed. Until I was way after I was diagnosed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how things like kind of make more sense once you've got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And before music became such a big in your life, before music became something so big for you, where did you feel most like yourself?
I remember primary school, I kind of flew through that completely fine, and I got by because kids are like energetic and silly and playing all the time. And it wasn't really until secondary school that I started to notice the gap of like, you know, people grow up and, you know, you can't.
Slow down a little, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like everything changed and stuff. And I mean, I think music was like the first time that I found that stuff, because before that I was just a kid. I loved Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z, and I remember when like people started splitting off into like subcultures throughout school, and I absolutely loved that idea for some reason. I was obsessed with like I started off skating, and I was obsessed with being like a skater. And I loved like everything about it, like the fashion and learning about the music and like hanging out with people who were like that. And then
Yeah.
it went from that into like getting into metal music, or like, you know, went through like an emo phase and a scene phase. And I was always going through like the next phase and
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. And I've always found it fascinating. I mean, I wrote my dissertation at uni about subcultures because I think it's such an interesting idea anyway,
Yeah.
that people can kind of just like join a group, and how it might just be like a small stint of their life, but you know, you're kind of in this unique club where you can walk around the streets and you can see somebody else who's also in that club and you instantly know that you can get on with them.
Yeah, and you can still bring this up to this day. Like if I see someone with like a band t-shirt, this dude passed through my car with a Bury Tomorrow hoodie. And Bury Tomorrow is not a band that you see like Slipknot. You see Slipknot everywhere, right?
Yeah.
We've said before about the metal community, about the way that they look. They all look very scary with their piercings and all of their tattoos. It's not someone that people are used to seeing, is it? But then you see the metal community and you speak to them, even though they are looking like they're about to fucking murder you. And they're the kindest, yeah, and they're the kindest people around.
I think I think the beauty of fashion is it allows people to express themselves outwardly and be seen in a way to others how they would like to be seen. And there's not many things in life which can communicate that so quickly other than fashion. And I can see why there's a lot of criticism in terms of, like, especially from the metal community of, like, imposters, because a lot of people say, like, stuff, oh, you've not been through the hardship of a metal fan and all that bollocks, and they can shut up like they're just trainers. But
what they on about?
You see it all the time where it's like being like part of the metal community is much more like, you know, I've had to grow up and I've had to like go through the times where it was embarrassing to be a metalhead and stuff like that.
Was that because of the moshers, isn't it? That people get chased and stuff. We didn't have that in Brazil, actually.
Yeah. We had it in the UK because it first got brought to light with the Sophie Lancaster issue, where she was murdered just for the way she looked. There's different subcultures. It was just people walking through a park. They saw two moshers that they called moshers. I think they were chavs, as we called chavs, and they just laid into them, and something tragic came about it. But yeah, I see what you're saying, Sam. Yeah, there was quite a lot of embarrassment back when metal was coming, like the early stages. You didn't really want to say you were into it. You didn't really want to dress differently because you were just scared of being bullied.
Yeah, I think the whole poser thing, it's like when you're trying to communicate who you are through your visual identity, then things feel disingenuous. Then it almost feels like straight away you're lying to somebody if you're dressing that way and you're not part of the community and stuff like that.
So we're going to get into a very touchy subject now, the loss of your dad. I'm also fatherless. So I lost my dad when I was 24. I was already living abroad when he passed. So I didn't even manage to go to his funeral. I had the ticket to go to Brazil 1 month before he passed away. So I just decided not to go. But yeah, it's a shit place to be.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about yours as well. But I'm guessing that losing their father can affect people differently. And I want to talk about your experience, not mine, because you're our special guest.
I like special guests. Let's keep special guests.
You described it as completely change your world. So do you want to let us know a little bit more about how was that experience?
I lost my dad when I was 21, and it was the year where I was finishing uni. So I was about to go into my third year, and then I lost my dad, and I was living in Norwich at uni at the time. And I got a call from my dad saying, like, oh, I've had a minor heart attack. It's nothing big, don't need to worry and stuff like that. And he was like, you don't have to come down, it's fine. But I ended up going down anyway because I was like, I'm not just going to leave you in hospital.
Were your parents together at the time?
No, our parents aren't together. No, they've not been together since I was like 1. But my mum was like there for my dad.
And you're quite close to your dad.
Yeah, so it's only like I've got a small family. But yeah, I mean, he ended up going in for like a routine operation, and then there was a complication, and it ended up being this situation which was in like an induced coma, and he would either wake up with brain damage or die. I was in hospital by his side for like about 10 days, and yeah, didn't know what the outcome was going to be. It's horrible to say, but I didn't know which outcome I prefer, and I didn't know which outcome he'd prefer.
Did you have to make the decision?
No, it was. I don't think the decision was ever like presented. It was just like it would do the best to bring him round. It's a really weird place to be in because obviously you don't know how brain damaged is brain damage. So yeah, I mean that was a really tough, weird part of my life because I mean even then going through that, being in the hospital, I was convinced like I was going to wake up. Like I completely disassociated. it is really, really bizarre feeling because it really was like, you know what, like, you know when you have a dream and then you're inside the dream and then sometimes you'll like start to come around and be like, oh, it's a dream, even though you're still
Yeah.
asleep. I was like that like the whole way through and just kept on over and over again. I didn't really know what was going on at any point, and that stuck with me all the way through the grieving process. And I found it really, really hard to grieve. I just couldn't accept it once it happened. And I was sad, but it's like it didn't sink in, and it didn't sink in for a long time. It's probably about a year after, and I sat watching TV with my girlfriend, and all of a sudden I felt this unbelievable amount of like anxiety, like nothing I've ever felt before. I went to the bathroom and I felt like I was gonna throw up, and I was panicking, and I felt like something bad was gonna happen, but I didn't know what. So I was like frantically checking the news. I was like my parents. I was going through my social media, like, I was, like, convinced something bad was gonna happen, but I had no idea what was gonna happen. I was like that about for about 6 or 7 months. I was, like, in
Bloody
this, like,
hell.
horrible state, and I was, like, throwing up all the time. I wasn't eating, just in, like, this awful, awful place, and luckily, my mum is a mental health nurse, so she knew, like, the steps, what needed to happen at the time, and ended up getting help straight away. I ended up, yeah, doing like talk therapy, and I got put on like antidepressants and stuff like that. And I understood all that. Like, I understood that as, you know, going through a horrible grieving process and as having like depression from it and stuff like that. And I understood all that. But after that, it's almost like I never managed to get my life back into, like, kickstart it going again. It is like everything from that point onwards was just coasting. Like, I was just going through life, and then whatever happened, I'd do it. But it's when moved out of uni and I started to I moved straight to London for a job in graphic design, and um, couldn't, like, all these things which I assumed were depression were still, like, plaguing me for years and years and years. Like,
Mm.
I was living in complete squalor. Like, my flat was an absolute mess. I was struggling to wake up in the mornings. I was struggling to go to bed and go to sleep at night. All these things is my first time being, like, independent properly, like, in my own place. Didn't have housemates, didn't have the pressure to, you know, um, get me to do all this stuff. And I ended up just going through job to job to job to job, and, like, getting to a point where, like, I could have stayed on and, like, had a career, but I was, like, just completely, like, blank, not interested, not motivated. And I was just doing that, like, over and over and over again. And I got to the point, I was living in London for 3 years, and I was, like, so convinced that, like, I was just, like, massively depressed, and I'd never thought I was able to break out of it. And I mean, that went on for 10 years straight. I moved to Leeds, all the same things happened over and over again. And I was just convinced I was just like a broken human who was just constantly going to be depressed from this point onwards.
For the
A
rest of
lot
your
of them,
life, yeah.
yeah, I was like, there's no way this is gonna change because it's been 10 years now. And I thought I'd trained myself into like almost like a BPD situation where I'd like ruined my personality, and I'm no longer able to do the simple things like cooking or maintaining relationships or, and any of the things. But like, it wasn't until I got the diagnosis of ADHD that I found out like all the things which I've always struggled with, which I struggled with before. Like I said, like I was always called lazy. I always struggle with motivation to do things. I've never really been good at eating, but not because I don't like to eat, just because I can't be bothered cooking, stuff like that, because it makes a mess. But when I do cook, I end up making the most, like, elaborate meal with 150 different ingredients and stuff, and I've always been like this, but I
Yeah.
didn't realize, like, that there was, like, that crossover of, like, yeah, I was depressed, but a lot of the things which I was trying to fight, like, I was never able to win that battle because I have something different in my brain which makes it really, really hard for me. Still, like, I mean, I've only been diagnosed for about half a year, and it's still something I'm trying to come to terms with and get better with, but there's no, unless you've got, like, the diagnosis, and I don't know what the answer is for this, like, kind of situation, but unless you've got the diagnosis, you're not taught that. One, you don't grieve the same way as other people.
Mm.
Because I didn't know at all that ADHD people have different grieving processes. I didn't know that ADHD people, like, go through the grieving process almost in, like, a different order, and they feel it in different ways. Because that's exactly what I did. And I also didn't even know about like ADHD and what it was, because I thought it was just like the annoying kid at school. which I was, but like not as annoying as the kid who got diagnosed to be. Completely like 10 years of my life, man. Like I feel like I completely just pissed away, and it's a really horrible thought, and it's probably the hardest things which I had to come to terms with since being diagnosed with is that
Yeah.
it was just I was fighting a battle I was never gonna win. It's been tough.
Yeah. And how was your relationship with your dad before he passed?
It's good. My dad struggled with like depression himself, but my dad's side of the family, like I don't not get on with him, but like I always felt like the black sheep of the family. But like, yeah, no, I love my dad. We were um close, and yeah, still feel like I'm like with him all the
Yeah.
time. But yeah,
That's good. Yeah. Do you have anyone else in your family that is diagnosed with ADHD?
no, but I mean, my brother is very on
You
the
see
spectrum
traits.
somewhere.
You see
Yeah,
traits. Yeah.
my mum also thinks she might. Now she's done more research into it.
Mm.
But I mean, like she always says, like it wasn't a thing then.
Yeah.
Like, my brother's
Yeah.
quite a lot older than me. He's like 45, and even when he was a kid, it wasn't a thing, especially not for her. So yeah,
But people just saw it as, like you said, the most annoying, the most disruptive child that goes around pissing people off, really. like what I used to do.
Okay, another question for Sam. Looking back on your grieving moment in those 10 years of depression, what do you wish people knew or understood a little bit more during that time? What would a supportive person look like for you?
Would it be fair to say that your mother was the most supportive person, being the mental health nurse?
yeah, no, my mum was absolutely amazing, and she still is to this day. To be honest, I don't know if other people, in terms of like friends and family, could have done much more. I think if I knew, then I wouldn't have wasted so much time fighting things which I never would have fought. I think, if anything, like to answer the question, like, the best thing they could have done is told me I had ADHD, but they couldn't have done because I didn't even know and they didn't know. But knowing there's all like the things which help people get through hard times and help people get through depression and things like that. And they're doing all them things. One really hard to stick to, like fitness, meditation, mindfulness, like tidy house, eating better. All them things are really hard for somebody with ADHD anyway, but with depression on top of that and things not really improving. How I felt, I was just depressed, but with a bit of a slightly tidier room, you know what I mean? I think really for that, yeah, it is a tough one, because it did flag up a lot of like relationships were like kind of destroyed, through depression and through like my actions as well. Like I don't put blame on any other people. Like I mean, I was with a girl for 4 years and she didn't know, I didn't know any of the stuff, and I think things kind of became quite hard for her because she was essentially with like I think she kind of felt like she was mothering somebody for a long time. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one, and I do think with like ADHD, it's such a case by case thing. It's quite hard to really know. If I had to go back and give myself advice, it would be kinder to myself. And that is what I'd probably say to anybody who has ADHD or thinks they have ADHD, and is going through something odd in general in life. There's a lot of pressure to fit into societal norms, and especially when it comes to grieving process, it can really feel like there's something like wrong with you. Like you can start to say like, am I a psychopath because I'm not acting this way or that way? And or like, I need to get out of this hole. Like, what can I do to get out of it? And I think really the biggest difference between me now and me then is that I know that I struggle with X, Y, Z, and I accept that rather than trying to fight it and then work around a way which suits myself rather than
Trying
trying
to
to fit in
fix
with
it.
everything
Yeah.
else.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
My next question for you, Sam, is now
Mm.
you have been diagnosed with ADHD and now you know all the traits, do you find it easier now to spot another person that might not be diagnosed and you can just simply say, after just spending maybe about half an hour or an hour with that person, that I can see quite a lot of traits in you that I think that maybe you should probably get tested, or maybe you should try and just read up and investigate?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a blessing and a curse because you kind of spend your whole life then looking for bits of yourself in other people once you've got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
I found like, I feel like I'm constantly doing it with other people. And to be honest, like I personally, from my standpoint, don't try not to say to people like, have you been tested for ADHD? Do you think you might have it? Because I
Yeah.
do think there's like a damaging element of like playing armchair psychologist with people, where you can put stuff in people's heads, or you can give people like unnecessary amount of stress for something which is just like my opinions. I personally try not to, just because I think social media, I've got like a particular issue with the way that it is constantly being blasted everywhere. Like, you might have ADHD if you do this or you do
Yeah,
that.
I fucking hate it. Honestly, I do. It
It drives me
pisses
mad.
me
And I
off.
think it's damaging for both sides. It's like there's people who are now going through life looking through a different lens when they might not have it. There's people who do have it who are now is seen as like, oh, I've got ADHD, oh, I've got a bit of ADHD. And it's like, you've got no idea what the struggle is through life. Because I often think that, like, I know people have it way worse than me, but like, I do feel like I'm living life in hard mode a lot of the time.
Well,
Yeah.
Mari told me that someone mentioned to her that it's ADHD is basically just the TikTok and Instagram illness. Everybody wants it. It's like an in thing now. Everybody wants to be associated with ADHD. Oh no, I've thrown a piece of paper on the floor because I couldn't be asked putting it in the bin. Oh, it must be my ADHD. No,
Yeah.
it's not that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, not saying that ADHDers at all, I'm saying a lot of people, regardless if they are neurospicy or not, but there is a lot of people that actually weaponize their neurospiciness. I do this because I'm autistic. I'm sorry. You know, fine, your brain works different than mine. Doesn't mean it's okay for you to be disrespectful and to
Yeah.
be uncaring, like not care about things. You should not weaponize that. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I completely agree. So I would get rid of, like, if they gave me a magic pill tomorrow to get rid of it, like I would 100%, 10,000%. Like, I do not want this
I
curse
don't
which is
want it.
put on me. Like, I
It's
hate
horrible.
it so much. I'd love to be able to just do a normal thing. Like, even
Yeah.
if it's like, if someone gave me a pill and it cost me like 10 grand, but I got a week of having a normal brain, I'd love to know what that's like, because I genuinely don't know how people wake up on time, you know, make the bed in the morning, eat breakfast, eat lunch, go to work, not get bored and just get distracted. Like, all of that stuff. Like, I'd love to just have a normal day, but my day is constantly just like kind of just getting by and feeling guilty about it. I mean, I don't know loads about like what ADHD actually is in the brain. Like, somebody described it to me once as that normal people have a regular flow of like dopamine to help them get through boring tasks and stuff like that, whereas ADHD people, like the receptors are completely different and this and that. But
That's the
yeah.
thing. It's like, for example, if you think a diabetic person, yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's easier to give like a physical thing for people to understand. So as per my knowledge on ADHD is that, like, for example, diabetic people type 2, for example, yeah, they need to produce more insulin to break the sugars than a normal person. Yeah. For example, I am insulin resistant, which means I'm not diabetic, but I do need to produce more insulin to break this amount of sugar than a normal person. So I take metformin to help me process the sugars. It's kind of the same with ADHD. For you to get the dopamine hit, you need more than a normal person. So, like, for example, when I have a beer, or someone that is neurotypical, they have a beer or they're talking to friends, they get the hit of their dopamine. So they don't need to chase it. When someone with ADHD, they need more excitement to get the same hit. So the production of dopamine is not as high, or it's not enough as a neurotypical. So it's kind of the same.
It checks out, man. Like, as soon as I'm doing something which like gives me like natural dopamine, it's like I do not want to stop, and I will do it until 4 in the morning. Sometimes I'll do it until 6 in the morning, and I just feel like I know that the next day is going to be absolutely written off, and I'm going to feel awful. But it's like a gambling addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, dopamine is the happy hormone, isn't it? And that's why you get bored and you're not getting any hit of dopamine of that task that you're doing, and you'll just drop it because you're not getting what you want from it. You know, when a neurotypical
Boredom is like the most painful thing in the world for me. That's like one thing which I have always noticed is like, if I am bored, I will feel like I'm going to throw up. It is like the worst feel. I can't think of anything worse than being bored. It's like I can feel it here, and all I want to do is just like, I mean, when I was younger and I was in like my mum's house with my mum when I was a teenager and stuff. I wasn't allowed to play Xbox in my room because of like, how much noise it would make. So I was only allowed to do it like before the soap started. So like I was like allowed to play on my Xbox until Emmerdale started pretty much. And after that, like as soon as that was done, and if like my mates were busy in the evening, I used to walk around the house just constantly pacing, and I'd feel like I was wanting to scream, like actually just like scream. It's awful, man. Like boredom sucks, especially when you've got ADHD. It's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I want you to tell me a little bit more about the moment that you're waiting for your diagnosis. How was that for you?
Because I was never even really convinced that I had it until I was like a couple of weeks after diagnosed. Anyway, I didn't want to get the test in the first place. Because I thought like if I got diagnosed with ADHD, then I would use it as an excuse for things. And I was worried that the label might just like damage me in general. Like I didn't want to have the label. I didn't want to be like another one. I didn't want the shame, like again with like we were talking about social media, of like being another person who is like diagnosed with ADHD in this sea of people who are saying they've got it. I didn't want that. So like I really wasn't it wasn't like a nervous, anxious thing, but I was really surprised of how I felt when I did get the diagnosis. Like that was like a big thing because
Yeah,
I
that was going
started
to be my next question. How
yeah.
did you feel when the person said you do
I,
have
I
ADHD?
I went through that grieving process all over again, but not for my dad, but for myself. And, I look back through my childhood and look back through school and the way teachers treat me or people treat me or, growing up and the things that I get in trouble for or all this stuff. And I was grieving my own self. And I just went back and I couldn't stop going back and just piecing things together like, oh, this happened because of this. This happened because of this. It was weird. I felt like Doctor Strange. I could see like all like the paths of like realities and I was like piecing them together, and that was like super tough, and I was super like stressed and like down and emotional, and it was really weird. Like it's only been really recent that I kind of accepted things and started to work alongside it, then try and fight it.
You mentioned about not wanting to say that you have got ADHD, you're not wanting to use it as an excuse. I don't like using it as an excuse either at work, and somebody will call me down to the meeting room and they'll be like, oh, we've noticed that your work isn't up to scratch. I want to kind of just say to them, oh, it's my ADHD, but I don't really want to look like I'm being weak. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, everyone are distracted sometimes, but when you are like diagnosed with a condition, you kind of just need to be a bit more empathetic towards that person.
I think that
What?
that's like the problem with the whole social media thing is it's super trivialized.
Yeah.
Like say you had a physical disability where, like say you didn't have a hand, and then your job was catching a fucking cricket ball. You play for cricket, that England cricket team. If you dropped the ball every now and again, they wouldn't go like, we all drop the ball sometimes because they can see that you physically don't have a hand.
Yeah,
I don't even know if ADHD is a disability, but I guess maybe
is.
it is.
it
Yeah, I mean, like, like some other ones are like visual, like you can clearly tell somebody's struggles with something. But with ADHD, it's so hidden and people are so normal and are like usually like quite charismatic or energetic or whatever. It completely gets brushed under the carpet or whatever the term is.
Oh.
Yeah. You mentioned that you still struggle with receiving a late diagnosis. Do you think that that grief that you mentioned earlier, saying that you start grieving for yourself, is just like, oh my God, if I had diagnosed before, did you feel that the system kind of failed you?
Yeah, to an extent. It's really hard to know like what's my fault and what's not. You know what I mean? Like that's the other thing with
Well,
ADHD
you're
is
a
like,
kid. It can't be your fault if you're a kid, right?
nah, true, but yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. Like, I don't know what my life would have been like if I got diagnosed super early. Maybe I would have completely lent on it and done this, but I think, like I said at the start, I guess the positives are I have learned loads of stuff. Like, I know how to do so many different things because of my ADHD.
Yeah.
And maybe if I had the diagnosis and it led me to live a more like normal life because I was getting support or medication or whatever, then maybe them steps wouldn't have happened. So it's a really tough one.
Yeah, a lot of what ifs, isn't it?
We touched on the point of that maybe 30 years ago, ADHD wasn't a thing. And you see quite a lot of people my age in the 30s People in their 30s now coming out and saying, yes, I have ADHD, but I've only just been recently diagnosed. So when we're talking about being diagnosed as a child, it's not something that happens that much. You see, mostly all the children which are getting diagnosed with ADHD now are probably maybe about 14 or 15, 16 years old, because it started to become like a more like a mainstream thing that people know about a lot more than what they used to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've only remember one or two. There's two kids who got diagnosed when I was young, but I think when I was about 10, I was friends with this kid who had ADHD. Like, even like then, it was, and like said, only 30 and stuff, like, to be diagnosed at that young of an age was like very, very rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see the statistics of like the diagnosis rates, but I don't know if it's like, I mean, what they say is like it was an underdiagnosis problem, not an overdiagnosis problem now.
We've got the best statistician here on this podcast.
We did touch that subject in one of our episodes about what's the percentage of people with ADHD. So this includes roughly 5% of children. And so an estimate of 2.6 to 3 million people in the UK have ADHD. And that's people that are diagnosed. Now, obviously, there is still people who are not diagnosed and they have ADHD. Yeah. We're not going to know. But yeah, there is 5% of children, 4% of adults. So yeah. So only 4% of adults.
All right. Okay. That's a very small percentage.
Small community when everybody's screaming, I have ADHD, isn't it?
It's an easy win though, isn't it, for like social media, because, you know, like as part of the band, I've got to like constantly be making engaging reels and stuff. But I mean, it's like if I start off by saying you might have a problem, then instantly it's like, oh, why? What is it? If you do this, like, oh,
you've already
I
got
might do that.
Yeah,
it's like, it's like, oh wait, so I do this and I do this and I do this. I'm gonna learn and find out more. Keep on scrolling. Like, it's an easy win for the grifters, but
yeah. That's one thing that I wanted to bring is like Vassal and was the guy from Busted, the guy from President.
Oh yeah.
What's his name again?
Charlie Simpson.
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't admitted he's the singer for president. Maybe because he doesn't want to be in the spotlight.
I think it's just a good marketing ploy.
You think? I think that, like, I don't want to be famous. I keep saying that to Chris. I don't want to be famous.
Why don't you create your own alter ego like Hangman here
I don't
for your
want
podcast?
Another alter ego. I want peace.
How would you say Hangman in Brazilian? Or Portuguese, should I say?
Forca?
Oh, don't say that.
Oh, no.
The fucker.
Perfect.
Forca, moron.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so you described your ADHD as being your best friend and your worst enemy. Can you, clarify that for us? Why is it your best friend, but also your worst enemy?
Oh man, like, to be honest, I mean, I must have been feeling good about it that day because I absolutely fucking did it.
It's mostly 90% is its worst enemy.
Well, I mean, I can smash out a week's worth of work in a day. Like, that's when it's like handy. I won't do it. I should be doing it 2 weeks before, but like, I am good at leaving it till the last minute and then doing it, and it's good for stuff like that. In terms of worst enemy, it's like, yeah, I mean, I've whinged a lot on this podcast so far. So I mean, it's a ball ache having ADHD, like, to put it lightly, but. Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, you can learn loads of stuff super quick. You do have like the interest, like, sort of thing. Like, your special interest can be like something for like a month, and you'll learn absolutely everything, which ends up being like really handy a lot of the time. And it can completely be. It can be really good. I guess. But I'd rather not, to be honest. Like, I'd rather just like
go
not
on a stable pace instead of like.
Would rather be.
No, I don't want to do this right now.
I was like, well, like the singing teacher who me and Chris met through, she's just gone down to Poland to do a festival, and she's been asking me for about 6 months to do some like visuals, like what are going to get projected. So when she sings, it like syncs with that. I've been putting it off and off and off, and ended up doing it 2 days before she's flown out. So like, it's a lot of work which I might do really quick, but I probably should have been doing it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Procrastinating then.
Leaving it to the last minute. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's amazing, right, what people with ADHD can do in such a short space of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't tend to procrastinate because, so that's the thing. That's maybe why I don't have ADHD. That's one of the traits. I hate procrastinating. I get very anxious when I have something to do and it's there in the back of my mind annoying me. And it's just like, we got to do that. Obviously, there are things that I procrastinate, but most of my stuff, I get it done out of the way so I can just relax. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think we do it the other way around. I think we do the relaxing first and then
and
We
the
do.
stress second.
okay, now I want to talk a little bit about the band and your music. Obviously, your identity when it comes to ADHD. You wrote something that really stood out, which you said music isn't therapy. It's kind of an escapism for you. So I feel that music do understand me. I don't see it as escapism. When I'm feeling very sad or if I listen to something that, it would just bring my emotions out, I feel quite therapeutical because I can name my emotions and then deal with them. But for you, it seems to be something different. So
Yeah, I mean,
what's the difference for you?
it's there's not many times in life you get to walk around and give yourself a stupid nickname like the Hangman, which I actually don't actually use in like a public thing. So this is like an exclusive scoop. But like, there's not many times where you get to like cosplay as something else and just be somebody else for an hour in front of all these people and be completely who you want to be. And music kind of gives you the license to do that. And it's like that goes through like writing. Like you don't have to be yourself. You can put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You can escape being that person who's just a miserable, boring bastard like I am today throughout that session or on stage. Through everything, through the way you present yourself, and
So you feel like it gives you a break?
it's an escape. And it's like that probably is one time where it's handy because jumping around on stage and being like playing the rock star is actually quite handy
Yeah.
when you're trying to want to be somewhat successful.
So you did say that music lets you be this real person, the real version of yourself.
Yeah,
And who is that version then, Sam?
I mean, like passionate, annoying. I can get away with saying a lot of stuff on stage because they're there to see me. So it's like there's no filter. It's just I'm there. I'm like my girlfriend, like I drive her absolutely insane because I'll walk around the house and I'll be singing songs or like my favorite band's My Chemical Romance and it has been since like I've been 13. So when I'm listening to that, like at that point I'm like full on doing a performance. I'm doing all like the hand gestures. I'm doing the face stuff. Like I'm like pouring my heart out, and that is who I am when I'm happy and when I'm in a comfortable place. So I'm more like who I am on stage than I am actually when I'm just kind of with people on a normal day-to-day basis.
And what do you think that ADHD brings to your creativity?
Yeah, I think it does give me an outlet to say things which I want to say, which I can't say. I think like I get really obsessive with things in general, but a lot of them things tend to be things which are like grown up with. And that kind of repeats itself when it comes to like visual identity rather it could be like through dress sense or it could be through like social media or I do a lot of like the music videos, well, I do all the music videos, all the like, design for like the album covers and stuff, and it becomes like I've got this infinite resource of things I know a lot about in my brain. But like out of nowhere I might be like, well, it'd be really cool to do a music video where we're doing this and we are in the 2000s, and then as a marketing thing we can get some Beyblades made or something like that, and then I'll spend the
Yeah.
next 2 weeks finding a way to do that, and then we'll do it, and then think for like a short period of time, for like the next 2 weeks, I can just like power through just loads of stupid ideas. So I used to make Game Boys and sell them when I was at uni, and that's kind of how I like funding myself. So I used to go to like car boot sales and buy broken Game Boys and then refurbish them, and then I'd modify them and put like different crazy stuff in them. So like, I have like that knowledge. So like I was like, oh, we'll do a release and then we'll make like a limited run of like Game Boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Sounds
Yeah.
fun. And you said music was the first lifestyle that truly fit your brain.
Mm.
What makes that different?
I mean, for a start off, like you are your own boss, even though you're a slave to the algorithm.
Well,
Like you can present like you present yourself how you want to present yourself. You can be who you want to be. Like it's the one thing which I feel like I'm I don't feel like an imposter. Like all the way through life, I've always felt like an imposter. You know, like I did art at uni and I did well, and I worked in London at various firms and stuff doing this, but I never felt like I was good enough. And I moved to tattooing as a tattooer for a bit, and then I was complete. Never felt like I was good enough to do that, but I just, for once, I feel like the most comfortable I've ever felt doing music, um, which is a beautiful and terrifying thought because I know it's not for everyone. I know that it might never go anywhere, which is the odds of it. It's nice to not feel any judgment or fear or just to be able to just completely express myself and be me, and that the fact that me and the rest of the band are the products. And if people like that and it's vibing with people, then we're doing something right.
So, do you think ADHD helps you being a musician, or do you think makes it more challenging?
I mean, everything is the swings and roundabouts. Like there are some days where I'm just completely burnt out, and that's like the ADHD side telling me to take a break, and you can't take a break. And I'll just run myself further and further into the ground. But like I said, like I've got such a wealth of things I can pull from. I've got like like a attention deficit, but when you're on stage, you're getting that dopamine, you're getting all that attention, and it's great.
Oh,
Do you
that's
do you
amazing.
ever have times where you feel that you can't be bothered? Like it's like 10 o'clock at night and you're headlining and your day has just been completely shit. Do you ever have times where you just got to kind of force just to get up there and be that person?
Genuinely no, and that's why I love it so much. I always look forward to it. I always love being up there. Even if it's like a shit gig, I'd still be rather doing that than most things. I
Yeah,
just never have that feeling of like I can't be arsed.
that's awesome.
The problem is that the music industry is shit at the moment,
Yeah,
especially with Spotify. So musicians, like the proper artists, are not making enough money, and then they have to have like a different career slash job to make those. Obviously the 90s was a great phase for music. The 80s and the 90s, but now it's really hard to make do.
The
Yeah.
odds are always against you. Like, I mean, even in like the 90s tears and stuff, like for every era, like the odds have always been against you. But I think the thing what I try and tell myself now is like you've just got to enjoy the ride. You know, I'm very lucky that we do get to play gigs and we do get people to come to our shows. Like we just sold out Key Club, which was amazing. It's super fortunate. Like not many people get to do that, and even if we are a tiny band, you know, like these are memories which I'll take with me to the grave, and things that I'll always look back on. And you know, we never get that £1 million record deal, which will probably never happen. At least I've had fun trying to do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess that's what it makes you keep going, isn't it? Because it's something that you're really passionate about. We can see that, and that makes you through the difficult days, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's unique being in a band because you've got 7 people who you spend like you speak to all day every day, and you spend a lot of time together. And we're all in it together, and it's nice in a way. It feels like we're troops dropping into D-Day sometimes, but you know, it's a lovely dynamic, which again, you don't really get that anywhere else unless you maybe play for a sports team or something. Like we're all
Yeah.
working together for this one thing to see where it goes, and we get to have them memories together, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Now, about a little bit more about the band and stuff. How is it being part of Sleuth Gang? The first time you went on stage, how was that for you?
So like my history is like I'm not a musician. Like to be honest, like I am like I wing all this. I've never written a song until our first song. And I was with like Lewis and Jeremy, who are the other vocalists in the band. We've got 3 vocalists, and they've been doing it the whole life. But yeah, I just kind of like pulled something out of my ass, and then they were like, "Do you want to record it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be fun." And kind of just like wedged my way in there and kind of forced myself on. But the very first time I'd performed with them guys, that was before we were in the band. We were playing this show. There's this venue in Leeds called Packhorse, and it's always
Mm.
super cursed. Like every time we go there, something terrible happens. Then I've been punched there twice. I've been like
Oh,
roped on stage. I've had the bouncer threaten to kill us. We've had people trying to stab us, and literally something always bad happens whenever we play there. It's one of the first times what them guys played there doing solo stuff, and the crowd was quite big, and I don't think they expected it, and they were like, "We come on stage to like, you know, kind of bring some energy in," and I was like,
Yeah.
Will I? Like, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. This is my Disney moment. That's like my calling. Get me on stage. So like, I went on stage, I jumped around, pratted about, you know, shouted to the crowd, and it kind of worked as like a great dynamic of like the three of us because we got the talent, and then we've got like the annoying bastard who's going to try and get the crowd going, and that's kind of just how it stuck. But I mean, the first show we ever did was a festival, which is kind of crazy. It was a Humber Street session hall, and BBC picked us up pretty early, and they put us on their BBC introducing stage.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was mint. We super lucky with that, and yeah, I just remember walking out, and it was like to walk out into like to see like a full room for your first gig was just absolutely like insane. But there was that moment where like there's almost like a switch what goes in your head where it's like the fight or flight where it's like I can either you start to think like, oh no, do whatever, but you just gotta send it. You just gotta flick that switch and just send it because you look 10 times worse if you stand there looking a bit nervous than you do if you make a bit of a dickhead out yourself. You just pretend you know what you're doing, and that's kind of been my ethos for the past 2.5 years since we started, and we've done all right. We're doing all right for ourselves, slowly growing, and
Yeah, well done.
it's been
Really,
good.
really cool,
Love it.
though. Is there some sort of community that you want to build around the band? What type of lyrics do you talk about? Romance, mental health? What flag kind of thing that you lift
I mean,
with your lyrics?
look, we're quite a diverse band as it is anyway. We got 2 gay guys, we got a black guy, we did have a really small guy. He wasn't disabled, but he was quite short. So that counted, I guess. He's gone now anyway, and replaced him with a normal tall guy, which is lovely.
Normal tall guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've got like songs. I mean, we started off like really quite political, and it was like kind of our like main thing was to be like, you know, we were really not happy with the climate at the time. We're still not, but I think one thing which gets really hard when you are being that political and outwardly political is one, the songs get very dated very quick. So you can be talking about a problem what's happening now, and then within 2 months' time, it's like irrelevant.
Yeah. It
Which
goes
is
too fast paced, the politics nowadays, isn't it? Yeah.
it's too fast paced, and also the other issue you have is if you make a mistake with what you're saying, then you are essentially just like hanging yourself out to dry for everyone. You've got like, you know, you've got your own side who like start to turn on you because you've made like a mistake with whatever, which luckily we didn't ever like say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, but your own side turn against you plus the other side turn against you. I think it's become really quite nasty with like the harassment and stuff, and we've tried to be political in a different way now where we'll outline problems rather than address them. So we'll highlight this issue rather than say like this is this person's fault and this needs to change.
Okay, so now we're getting to an end, but you know, I still have loads of questions for you.
Yeah.
After everything you've been through, you know, you've been quite through a lot. And what does success actually looks like for you?
What, sorry?
What the success? Success?
I thought you said what does sex look like for me, and I was like, oh, is it that sort of podcast?
Those foreigners
like
taking our jobs.
I guess, but no, success. I mean, I just, in terms of like, you know, like music aside and all of that aside, like, I just want to be in a place where I just want to be like happy, I guess. Like, I want to feel like how I feel like I am when I'm in the band, and whether that's, you know, working in a corner shop or working in a cafe or whatever, like, I want that level of happiness. Like, I'm not asked about being super rich and stuff. Like, having that like escape of the band showed me that life can be.
Yeah.
Like, that sort of life can be achievable, and then things are there. And whatever it is, what comes up is that to me is success.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Now, I'm just going to ask you some personal questions, not about sex. I'm sorry, guys. I know, or girls that are listening to this and seeing those two beautiful boys here with me.
Not me.
So, music-wise, what is one album that you wish you could hear for the first time again?
Well, first time ever.
Like the
Probably
first
Black
time
Parade. It's
Sorry?
such a corny answer to use My Chemical Romance, Black Parade, but like that album was just like, yeah, it's like the only album I never got bored of ever. It's like such a corny album. It's like cheesy, but it's so good.
Okay. What's your favorite part of being on stage?
Showing off and having attention.
Nice.
pretty much.
What's one misconception people have about musicians?
That it is that we don't work hard enough. That drives me absolutely fucking mad. The amount of people who say like, "Oh, you need to be doing like, why don't you just email these guys or just like get in with these guys?" It's like, do you not think we spend every single day emailing and trying to get in with people? That is literally all we do every day. But people can't seem to accept like everyone's got this preconception that it's like, oh, if you work super hard and you hustle, then you'll get there. And it's like, you can't even get people to open up a fucking email. That's like the hardest bit about being in a band.
Yeah, fair enough. People don't even open your email and you spend like hours writing. I get that.
That drives me nuts now.
Yeah. So what's your go-to comfort music, songs, artist, whatever you want to name?
Well, comfort music. You know, I've got one Spotify playlist which I've had since Spotify started. Wait, it'll go from like some happy hardcore tunes to like some death metal to like country and western. I've got Shakira. I love Shakira. She's got that lyric. It's like, sorry that my breasts are small and humble, so you don't confuse them with mountains. Like, who the fuck thought of that? That's an awful lyric, but I love it. And she says it with her chest. It's great.
Festival or intimate venue?
Festival.
Okay. I like the way you rock. I think I'll prefer intimate venue because I like to see the guys. Anyway, if you could support any band in the world, who would it be?
Gallows, but with Frank Carter singing.
Ooh.
Yes.
I think it'd go off. I think it'd be a
that
fun
would
gig.
be mental. I like the Gallows, but I prefer the Rattlesnakes.
I think Gallows just has that like chaotic energy, which I think would just be so fun to like be a part of.
Yeah. And what's next for Sleuth Gang?
What is next? We're playing a festival in August, Humber Street Sesh. We are on the rock stage at 6 p.m. We've got an EP coming out at the end of the year, and we've got loads of songs we're working on. We've got loads recorded. Some will end up in the bin, some will get released. Who knows, but there's always going to be something new coming.
Okay, make sure you send us the link so we can add to every post that we're going to make on socials and to the episode as well. So we're going to add on YouTube and on Spotify. Before we wrap everything up, I want to know where people can find Sleuth Gang.
Spotify, yeah, Sleuth Gang. YouTube, we've got a YouTube channel where we sometimes do some vlogs, sometimes just upload music videos. Instagram, Sleuth_gang. Facebook, all that nonsense. You'll find it. We've got a TikTok. We've probably got an OnlyFans somewhere.
And now the less... why people should listen to you?
Because we're fucking mint. And we bring the energy to every party, man. You've got to see us live. That's like, as soon as you see us live, then people are like, yeah, all right, I get it. Yeah, this is mint. I'm down.
So yeah, you guys need to check Sam and Sleuth Gang out. That is it from me. I don't know if Chris have anything to...
I don't. I will just mirror exactly what you just said, Mary. And check out Sleuth Gang. I've been to see them. They were amazing. So yeah, go check them out. Go listen to them. Spotify, YouTube, etc. All the links will be available in our description. But yeah, thanks for joining us, pal. It's been brilliant having you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. And I think what you guys do is great.
Brilliant.
It's nice to hear a podcast about ADHD what's not super fucking patronizing and...
Oh no, we like the raw stuff.
We do raw, we're all honest and everything.
Yeah.
Nice,
so yeah,
man. Keep on smashing it, guys.
Thank you. Fellow overthinkers, metalheads, neurodiverse people, all ages and genders, this has been Breakdowns and Breakthroughs, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you guys.
See you later.
See you
Goodbye.
later.